Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us from Ravenwolf. And Ravenwolf has this question. When we have revealed to friends or family that we have changed our spiritual path, how can we best repair or rebuild bridges that have been damaged through this action? And Ravenwolf qualifies this by saying when they have accepted our new path, but I can't help but think that he actually meant when they have not. But it doesn't matter because it's the same answer either way. When you have revealed that you have changed your spiritual path to a friend or a loved one, whether they accept it or not, the process of rebuilding bridges that might be damaged is exactly the same. And it's the same as building the bridges in the first place or rebuilding bridges that are damaged for any other reason. And the answer is that you have to be patient, you have to be kind, you have to meet the person where you find them, and you have to take your time and rebuild the bridge. You have to find your commonalities. Bridges are built by working your way to the center, by finding the things you share and building upon them. It doesn't really matter what the situation is, it's always the same. Now, what those commonalities are may be different, but the process is still the same. And if you have changed your spiritual path and this has caused problems with people that you know, you may need to find other commonalities to rebuild your bridges with. But if you've known them for years and years, chances are there are other commonalities there, and you can use those to rebuild. You also want to bear in mind that you need to use language they understand. One of the things that I think is most important to understand in terms of language is that the meaning of a word lies with the hearer, not with the speaker. People often think that what they think the word means is going to be more important than what the person hearing the word will think it means. And unless you're explaining, and explaining well what you mean, that's not the case. They will hear what they understand the word to mean unless you can somehow change their mind. So try to use words they already understand in a positive context. We've spoken about interfaith language before. And when you talk to people using interfaith language, you use the words they understand. You don't talk about Anubis and Apollo and Diana and Hecate. You talk about deity, you talk about God. They know what this means. You talk about spirit. They usually know what this means. You use the words that they're going to understand. You say, of course we believe in God, we just believe different things. Or better yet, you say, of course we believe in God, and this is what we believe. You see, it's very similar to what you believe. And in fact, it usually is. However, it may not be similar to all that they believe, but it's similar to much of what they believe, and if you focus on that, you have a much better chance of reaching out to them and finding a friendly hand. If you talk about prayer as opposed to spell work, they're going to understand you faster. You can then explain that what you mean might be done a little bit differently, but it's still the same idea. So using interfaith language can be very important. Using terms they understand and avoiding jargon they don't understand will help them to be able to understand. Using ideas they're familiar with, using experiences they have had. Because the truth is, our spiritual path isn't that much different than most other people's. It looks more different than it is because our words and our images are often different. But most of the beliefs of our path, even within the context that there are various related paths that come under the heading of pagan, most of the beliefs will be familiar to most people if you just avoid using the words that they find to be triggering. Things like belief in reincarnation, belief in karma, even belief in magic or mind over matter, if you will, you'll find most people are already familiar with these. And if you approach them with terms they understand, they're not going to be particularly bothered by them. It's when you use the terms they don't understand that it tends to be off-putting. And it would be just as off-putting if someone were doing that to you. So try to use what's familiar. Try to use experiences you have in common with the person to remind them that you've always been a good person. But also realize that you may have to re-demonstrate this and be prepared to be patient. When it comes to building bridges or rebuilding them, it isn't necessarily an overnight process and you can't really expect it to be. Rather, you need to have faith that eventually you'll get there and keep trying to find the ways to get there. And of course, lastly, you also have to understand that while we may have faith that we will get there, there are certain cases where we simply won't. Sometimes people just cannot accept that other people believe differently and nothing you do will ever get through to them. However, I think that is not the majority of cases. Most people that I have known who have had strife in their family over a change in spiritual path have overcome it after a certain amount of time has gone by. Very often what their family members need to see is simply that they are still a good person or perhaps a better person for their different spirituality. And very often they also benefit from seeing that it's not really all that different in many ways. So these are the things I'd recommend, not only for rebuilding damaged bridges, but building bridges in the first place. And you know, the phrase that I used, meet people where you find them, it was one of my mother's favorite phrases. And it's really, really important. You may be in one place and they may be in another, but you can't necessarily expect them to come to your place. Sometimes you have to go to theirs in order to make them understand. You may think that they should come to you, but that doesn't mean they're going to. And I would say you must accept the practicality of the matter that you have to meet them where they are. And again, that means using the words they understand, using the concepts they understand, and trying to lead them gently from where they are to perhaps a better place. So, those would be my thoughts on the matter. I hope you find them helpful, and until next time, may you blessed be.
Hello, this is Lady Crystal. I am here with you today to offer today's prayer for peace. I invite you to join me as I do this and to add your energies to this prayer. I pray for peace. I pray for love. I pray for stability. I pray for this nation where I live, and I pray for the world. May peace, true peace, positive peace, reign everywhere. I thank you.
Ooh.